Your people would check their hair before they go live stream. Nope. Last minute, that's when I check it. Right when I see myself on the camera, I'm like, oh, my hair looks kind of messy. Bam! That's key timing. It's so funny because I think that's one of the first things people do is they look at their hair and see if it's out of place and they adjust it. And I like this. I want it exactly like this, styled. So two things I want to talk about are silly and busy. The first thing is I've noticed that people are gravitating online towards things that are silly, and I am noticing it. My trying is the tape is coming up. I notice that I'm gravitating towards it. I'm also noticing that people in my social circle are not only gravitating towards watching that, but they're also gravitating towards creating that. And I think a lot of it has to do with there's a lot of depression. There's a lot of heaviness going on right now, and people feel stuck at home and people feel out of control. So the act of being silly is almost like a defiance, it's a rebellious act. It's like Dadaism in the space of structure, right? So I think people have been drawn to the silly stuff. So we've been producing some really silly stuff on Mischief Managed, and it's been getting some good attention. So I don't think it's just being silly. Like I don't think someone going like for 15 minutes is going to be like the next big show. But I do think a component that people aren't looking for the darkness, like even a show like Tiger King, which was like a reality show and there was like murder and all these like heavy, like, oh my God, it seemed almost emotionally distant from everyone else's everyday life that it seemed like an escape. So I think that people are grabbing, and I like, let me tell you, I love like things with a dark twist for it. Like I love Disney, I love dark Disney. I love the Barn in Phantasmic, Fantasia, in Fantasia. And I love like Maleficent and like Cruella de Vil and the designs for on all these demons. Like I love that stuff. We just watched Escape from Witch Mountain. I've never seen that before. That is twisted. But I have to say that I love stuff like that. Like I love the twistedness. But I think that right now I think I'm gravitating towards silly. I just like binge watch Chippendale Rescue Rangers. Um, and and we're creating stuff that's really like pointless. And that the point is that with all this heaviness going on in the world, I still have control. I can still do what I want to do, even if it's nonsensical. Like, and I think that that's what's really attracting people, and that's what's really attracting me. So that's just very interesting. And that, to me, it's like for those of you making content, like right now, work on whatever you're most passionate about, because art a lot of times is about the artist's expression. Um, so work on whatever you want to. There's no judgment there. But I'm just saying, my thought is that art is really a communication. Like art is, yeah, the artist's expression, and sometimes it's there. That's why it's therapeutic for the artist, is because they've expressed themselves and they've been able to find a certain language for their feelings or their emotions or their ideas that they couldn't just speak to someone. They couldn't use English language or spoken word or stuff. They had to use paints and movement and all this kind of stuff to express themselves. So no judgment on whatever art you want to create. Do it. Express yourself. Be healthy, happy, emotionally healthy. But I think that if you're looking, I think art is also a form of communication. So expression, and then how that expression is received. So if I express myself in a song, la 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 pop, that's my song. And to me, it means like as a child, I dealt with so much darkness and rejection. And now that I'm older, that darkness and rejection is still inside me. But I express it like la 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 boom, because whatever it is, how that's received is people might go, that's really boppy and it makes me feel better. So was there a failure in communication? No, it's just communication. You really can't necessarily, you can guide your audience as much as you want to, but you can't control your audience. And to be honest, I think that's what really draws a lot of intelligent people to arts, is that there's a very real ladder to mechanical things, or there's a very real ladder to some infrastructures. If you want to promote, you do A, B, C, and D. If you want to learn the skill, you do A, B, C, and D, follow this blueprint, whatever it is. But I sometimes think that really, not really intelligent, I guess a different intelligence, because I guess there's different types of intelligence out there, right? So differently intelligent people are drawn to the arts because there's that subjective thing you will always be trying to figure out for the rest of your life. So you have to figure out, like, what do I want to express, or what's my intent? And then you also have to release a little bit of control over, well, how's the audience going to receive it? Because a lot of times, this is what I do, and this is to my detriment, but a lot of times I just put something out there. Let's put something out there and see what happens. and then the audience receives it. And it's not always received well. People kind of go, how dare you say that? Or, oh my God, I can't believe you do that. Um, Look at that. There we go. That's much better. Much better. But I think that, and so sometimes I put stuff out there that's not really well planned. It doesn't look quality. People like maybe it's not very polished or how that's offensive or whatever it is. And I kind of just let it go because I want to create the next thing and consider that a learning lesson to move on to the next thing. So the best examples we did, Mischief Managed, we did a script of Golden Girls and Hamlet with hand puppets, and we got 11,000 views. I did not expect that. I honestly thought it would just be a fun project for us and that like maybe internally we'd laugh about it. So then we just did Harry Potter and it has 300 views, but it's got a lot of interactions. So that's a success. And I'm figuring out why. I'm trying to figure out, and a lot of this is just detective work. Like, why is this one working and this one not working and and then so some of that is subjective. But I'm going on a huge ramble here. I'm just saying art is subjective, and the silliness is what I'm seeing people gravitate towards. So I think being silly, it's not just being silly. It's also, I think people are gravitating towards something personal, like relationships. Like that's why I think people are drawn to podcasts because of the personality of the people, and they feel like they have a friend. Or YouTube videos versus Netflix versus Amazon Prime versus, there's a personal feeling to it that you're, and so I think that they're drawn to that sort of silliness, the relationship, the authenticity, all that kind of stuff. So that's what I'm noticing. And one of my friends who also likes dark stuff, like I like Hunters on Amazon Prime, and that's real dark, but it's so good. But I've stopped watching it, and I think it's just because like right now I kind of need to. And so I'm watching Chippendales Rescue Rangers and all that kind of stuff, or Moana, which I've seen several times before. But it's who cares? It's silly. Um, So yeah, so one of my friends who does the same thing, loves like a lot of dark stuff and like murder, true crime, all that kind of stuff. He's like, I'm just writing silly stuff right now, and I don't know why. It's just silly. And there's nothing wrong with that. I just observe it, observe the patterns. That's what I'm working on, is observing the patterns and not trying to control them. And just trying to identify what they are and then continue them as a strength. So here's another really good example of that. There's this Facebook group where all people do is pretend to be ants. Every person in that group is pretending to be an ant. Someone will post something like this banana, they'll show a picture of like a little slice of banana and they'll say, this banana piece slice is too heavy, help me lift. And then you'll get thousands, I'm not lying, I'm not exaggerating, thousands of comments of people just saying the word lift because they're all pretending to be ants. There's something so silly, so community based, and so it's like rebellious. Like, yeah, I get what's going on, but the world, my reaction to the world is human beings are still going to connect in this game. You can't stop us. We're still going to find a way to connect. So that's an example. I think silliness is just really appealing to people, and that sense of community. And that sense of, so the other thing I want to talk about in today's video is busy. The last 4 or 5 days, I've been busy, so much so that today I only have one thing planned. Oh, and it's in a few minutes, so I got to get going. I only have one thing planned, and I'm like, I don't want to think about anything else. For the rest of the week, I have one thing planned today and one thing planned on Friday, and then I'm considering planning something else. But like part of me is like, don't plan anything. Like you need to relax. But I've been busy. And if you were to compare my weekend busy with what busy was like before the lockdown, dude, nothing. It ain't nothing. Like 2 things a day. And to me, it's like I have to so much stuck in my head and so much pressure. And okay, in the last 4 days, I've done 3 shows. I've been in 3 shows. I've led a class, led 2 classes, and then created all the props. And then there's just a lot of stuff that I've been working on, and that's only in the last 4 or 5 days. So it's almost a show or class a day, and then meetings. I've done a lot of meetings. I'm mentoring 2 people too. It's like there's a lot of stuff on my plate. And so today and tomorrow, it's like don't plan anything. Work on your PhD, read, do what you need to do, recharge. And part of that is I think that we unearnedly consider being busy a virtue. Like that all of a sudden I'm cool because I'm busy. It's not true. You're cool if you're emotionally healthy. Anyone can sign on to more projects than they can handle. Anyone can do that. Anyone can use um, errands and tasks and projects and hang out with friends as an excuse to distract themselves from being an emotionally healthy person. So being busy is not a virtue, and that's one of my flaws that I'm aware of. That I'll be busy, and I'm trying to do better and better about saying no to projects. Not because I don't want to do the projects. I was just invited to be part of a show tonight with one of my friends who I love, and I'm like, I love this person, and doing a project that was so fun. At the same time, I kind of need to not have something right now. I kind of just need to recharge. So I'm kind of up in there about doing that. But yeah, don't think that being busy makes you a good person. It doesn't. And I'm talking because I fall into that. My childhood is, and it was instilled in me. Not it wasn't told you need to do this. It was just one of those things that whenever you did this activity, you got rewarded because it was about being self-reliant. Whenever I was self-reliant, I would be rewarded. And even to this day, like in my immediate family, my mom, my brother, my dad, and everything, if you're self-reliant, yeah, good you're self-reliant. And I personally do think that's a good thing in a lot of instances, but not in all instances, because also we're not islands. We're not emotional islands. People need to collaborate and people need community and people need to communicate. And so if you're like self-reliant to a point where you're an island and no one else can be on your island, that's not healthy either. That's not healthy for you. It's not healthy for relationships surrounding you because we all have to have relationships with family, friends, coworkers, and all that kind of stuff. It's not healthy for them either. It's not healthy for the person. It's not healthy. So that's where I think busyness comes from, is it's a sense of self-reliance. So take time. I think allow yourself to be bored. Allow yourself to have moments of silence. There's this, I'll close with this. I gotta get going anyways. But I'll close with this. There's this Ben Folds 5, who I love Ben Folds. If you haven't heard him, he's awesome. It's called Evaporated, this song. Oh no, it's this song. Okay, it's not Evaporated, although that's probably my favorite song of all time. He has a song, I can't remember what CD it's on, but it's called Best Imitation of Himself. And the song inspired me to do a monologue about someone who could do impressions and stuff like that. But the whole concept of the song is I can do an impression of myself that's so good you'll never know that there's anything emotionally wrong with me, which is about defenses and not letting people in and all this kind of stuff. But I love that concept of I do the best impression of myself. Right? And I think a lot of us do that actually, just to not convey there's anything sadness or anything we're dealing with or in our feelings overwhelm anyone, and it really is all about vulnerability. Um, but in that song, there's this line, "Who am I when I'm all alone?" I think it's because we're so used to finding personality and how we reflect off other people. And I think that in order to have a really powerful sense of self, yeah, of self, of identity, of self worth, you have to know who you are when you're by yourself. You have to be able to, instead of looking to outside sources to make happiness, you have to look to be able to make happiness within you. You have to be look to like make peace with yourself, because a lot of times we're way too hard on ourselves. Like that little editor in the back of our head is constantly going. Our little shame machines build up all those memories. They ready for this little cinematic montage of all the times you screwed up. And we have to find ways to silence that and go, you know what? I've learned my lesson from those moments. That's the point of them. I've learned my lesson to not do those anymore, and now I can move on. I don't have to replay those and feel emotionally struck by them. So yeah, be kind to yourself. Be easy to yourself. I want you to treat yourself like your own best friend. Meaning, how do you talk to your best friend? That's how you should talk to yourself inside your head. Your best friend would constantly go, "Here's what you did wrong. Here's what you did wrong. Here's what you did wrong." And being that critical, you wouldn't be best friends. You wouldn't talk to them anymore. You don't have time for that. That's off your shoulders, right? So be kind to yourself. And sometimes it takes some training. I work on that too. Okay, see you later, everyone. Hope everyone's doing great. You know what? Here's my tip for you today. Sign up for Disney Plus or World of Warcraft, or get involved in a video game you've always wanted to get involved in. Why not? Why not? Best time to do it. Bye.